Please welcome to the stage, Udi Ratzin.
Hello.
So even though Udi wasn't the director of the film, we still think he knows a lot about the film.
A little bit.
So as always, you can tweet your questions to hashtag SBFF. Do you have any questions? Let me see some hands. Because you know I'll start asking if you don't. Do I see hands? Yes, ma'am. The question is, who ended up living in that house?
In the movie or in real life? Okay, so I'm gonna tell the story.
Right. Who ended up living in the house in real life? Okay.
So the house in real life was built and is occupied by the director's brother. And this is how the movie came into life. The director, Asaf, was visiting his brother, who was very enthusiastically showing him a little piece of land that he purchased, and he said, this is where I'm going to build my house. And the director said, this is beautiful, I have to do something with this. I'm going to go home and write a script. And his brother said, well, you have 3 weeks because I'm going to start construction. So he went home and he wrote something like an outline, and he recruited me and Noah, and we started filming. And since his brother built the house by himself with a bunch of friends, it took a long time. So we basically came to visit there for 1.5 years as he was building the house. And he still lives there.
Yes, ma'am. Where is this house?
Oh, this is a little tiny village called Hararit, in the Western Galilee area. There's no big city. I mean, it's probably 45 minutes from Haifa and about 45 minutes from Tzfat. Israel is very small, so it's only 1.5 hours from Tel Aviv.
We'll look it up later on Google Earth and find out exactly where it is. More questions? Yes, ma'am. So the question is, in the movie, who wound up ending?
Yeah. So in the movie, instead of breaking up, they decide to give up on the house, and they just rented it out to a random couple that wanted to move in there.
Yes, ma'am. So the question is, why didn't they use solar energy?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We'll come back to that later. Yes, sir.
The baby that we were holding, it was real. It was a real baby. Okay, so this is another very, very cool thing behind the scenes. As we started filming the movie, about after a month, Noah Koller, the lead actress, who I think is amazing, approached the director and said, I think I have to leave the production because I'm pregnant, and I'm not going to be able to do this for such a long time. And Asaf, the director, brilliantly, again, since we had no script and we had an outline, he changed the script completely. So this was a real pregnancy in real time. And not only she was pregnant, the producer's wife and Asaf, the director's wife, and the cinematographer's wife, wait, and my wife. So by the end of production, there were 5 babies born. Yep. So to answer your question, I'm sorry. The baby that you see in the last scene is the actress's baby. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it took a year and a half, and then a few months more. And, yep.
Yeah, so the math adds up. More questions? Yes, ma'am. Was this your first time working with this actress?
It was the first time, and we didn't have time to. There was no auditioning. It was all he knew her. He kind of like knew me through a friend. He didn't really have time, and I think our audition as a couple, or our matching as a couple, was tested the first day of shooting. So it was either sink or swim. You just, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, what scene was the first day of shooting, if you couldn't hear that?
The one that that she's reading the new play. And actually, the only cheating that we did, because we did shoot it chronologically, the scene in the tent, the top shot in the tent that we shot that at the end of the movie, because I guess he didn't really like the audition scene that we shot. And by the end of production, he felt like we were a real couple, and that's what it really felt like for shooting together for a year and a half. We used to travel together by car from Tel Aviv to the Galilee area while Noah was pregnant, with all the hardship, waking up in the middle of the night to arrive there in the morning, and the morning sickness and everything. And I got a lot of crap from her on the way. So, yeah, that's what you saw, basically.
Yes, sir. I think everybody heard that. That's really, your voice carries well. But did the script evolve over the year and a half, and was there much improvisation?
So this is what we did. Asaf, the director, wrote a scene. We read it once. We could meet before. We used to go there, and we shot it. He went home, and he started editing the movie scene by scene. And I guess we had a week or two in between, intervals. So he had time, A, to look at what he did, B, to think about the next scene, and kind of write and rewrite. So there were a lot of changes along the way, and some improv. But he was very, very specific. He was specific with the language. He gave us enough room to work in between and whatever worked for us. But he really knew what he wanted. He really, really knew this couple better than we did. And when you have a director who really knows what he's doing, and you have to trust him, you want to trust him. So that was the process. So there were a lot of changes, yeah.
Yes, sir. Way back there. Can you say that again a little louder? How did your character become disinterested in the construction of the house by the end of the
How
process?
or why?
Yes.
Yes. That's a great question. I don't know if I have the right answer. And I heard Asaf speaking in forums like these, and he always says, I don't want to give answers, I want to raise a question. So that's really up to you to answer. I can tell you that from my point of view, anyone who's ever gone through an experience like this, and it's not life or death, it's building a house, that's it, or moving, or getting married, or having children, you get caught up, and these little things, they become so big and grandiose that a few years later, you don't even remember what was the argument about. But I think Gili, the character, he he starts resenting the fact that there's nothing left of the relationship but this project, this production. He resents that. And maybe it's childish. I'm not judging it. You can. But I think that's what was going on with him.
Yes, ma'am. So the question was about, do you know who she's talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So the question is about two actors who are, I guess, better known on some Netflix.
Fauda, yeah. Yeah.
What she said.
So I have to say, all the supporting characters, all of them, are very famous actors in Israel. And Asaf, this was his first feature film, and he was just walking around Tel Aviv and meeting them in cafe. I don't know how he created this buzz, and he was saying, I'm shooting this thing up in the north. Why don't you come for one day? I'll put you up in a nice little place. And people responded. And this is like the enthusiasm of a young filmmaker this is a real independent movie. And his enthusiasm brought a really star cast because everybody, including the actress who played my mom and my dad and everyone, they came in for a day. And they were very excited. And for us, it was great because we felt like we were hosting every time, once a month or every 2 weeks, oh, who's coming today? Who's the famous person coming today? So it was very, very exciting for us and also very challenging.
Were the construction workers the actual construction workers?
Absolutely. The argument that I'm having about the paint, that was the painter. And the tile guy, that was the guy. And I think they were amazing. They stole the scene every time. And they were nervous. They were trying to learn their dialogue, and Asaf told them, just do your thing, be yourself. And they were amazing. I mean, it was as real as it gets.
Was the paint white or yellow when it dried?
To this day, I swear to God, it was yellow. Yellow.
Yes, ma'am, right there. Would you yourself ever consider building a house from scratch after this process?
Great question. I don't know. A year before we shot this, I moved into my dream apartment, so I had to deal a little bit with these kind of things. But while we were shooting this, I said to myself, never, ever, ever. Now we're a little further away. It looks a little romantic, but because we were on location the entire time, when it was, we actually went through 4 seasons. So when it was winter and it was cold, it was really cold. There was no way to keep us warm, and vice versa in the summer. It was really, really hot, and it's not easy. I mean, whoever went through a process like this, it's not easy. Yeah.
I think we have time for one more question. Sure, you right there in the blue. So the question is why the scenes were written as you went along?
Because he just didn't have time. Because his brother told him, I'm starting construction. So from the get-go, it was chasing after the construction people, coordinating with them. I mean, sometimes he would call me and say, listen, they moved the cement. The cement guy cannot come on Thursday, he's coming on Wednesday. Can you take off work and come to shoot? So there was really no time to sit and write a full script. A full script takes a long time to write. He just didn't have the luxury to do that. But again, because he was editing as he went along, he could actually see the movie, which other filmmakers, they don't really have, because usually you don't shoot a movie in sequence. So it was a disadvantage that he turned into an advantage in this project, I guess.
Did you guys like the movie? So show it when you vote. Udi Razin.
Thank you very much.